Do you ever ask yourself why you might suffer or struggle in your life and how you can move beyond that, how you can stop doing it? Well, I have the answers now because I spent my life figuring out the answers or being given the answers, and that's what I put up yesterday. I made a post on my site, anyadvicefortoday.com, and I said, we no longer need to suffer or struggle. And when I'm saying we, I mean as individuals and our world. Because the only reason we suffer in our lives is that we're unwilling to take the next step in terms of who we're meant to become. We're just a little afraid of what that could be because it's always in the unknown of whatever. And so we don't want to take that next step. And we will do that individually, but then over time in our civilization, in our society, we do the same thing as well. And we happen to be in one of those times right now. We are existing in a time of great change. And when we're unwilling to do it, that's when we start to struggle and suffer. And I do know that one because I did it most of my life. And then we get stopped with fear and doubt because now we don't know who we are. And that's when we can struggle. Who am I meant to be? Then we discover that it's always in front of us. And we have to become willing to do the work, meaning self-exploration, personal development, ascension, whatever you might think of. And then there may be other times where you do something that's so different, which is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be your unique self. And you might be finding that difficult during this time because everyone's trying to do that. And so then you have to, how do I find my unique self? And how do I stop suffering and struggling? And how do I become abundant? How do I become happy? How do I have all the right relationships? How do I fall in love with myself? Well, that's what I came to tell you. Obviously, that's what my life was about because that's what I've been doing, and that's what Wilhelm gave us. And what I discovered is that the reason that this worked is because it was aligned with the energetic changes that were happening in our world. We're all affected by energy, we just don't always understand it. Because we're all energy, that's all that we are, energy and our consciousness. And so when you think about that, you have to look at what is holding you back in your life. It's only in your thoughts. It's only in your consciousness. But then we come to understand mindset. Why is mindset important? Why do we talk about it so much? Because we come to recognize as we've lived as humans is that mindset can be stilted, can be halted because we're still holding on to something that was old. And what we're holding on to is the old identity of us. We're holding on to the old us that we thought we were. And we're never meant to do that. We're supposed to expand, and we're meant to do it in very different ways, individually and also collectively. When I started receiving Wilhelm in 1989, I had no idea what it was going to be. You don't know who you can become. You have no clue as to who you are because it always unfolds. And you have this unlimited potential, and you decide every single day whether or not you're going to access more of it. Well, I seem to have no choice in that. I had no choice because I had to sit down and write it down every single day. And that's exactly what I did. And if you haven't seen the photos, you probably have. I showed the photos of all the papers that I had. I mean, probably 20,000 papers I've done over the past 36 years. But what it did was it gave me a complete philosophy that could change your life, that could change our world. And I can say that now because I know that it answers your questions. The only difficulty you have is not being able to answer the questions to know who you are. And I've written down all the questions and I had to live it all. And then I know that it works because it caused me to heal. It caused me to move to that higher state of understanding and that fifth dimensional thinking that we're all looking for. Well, yeah, Wilhelm gave us that. And I didn't believe it either. That's the other thing. We don't believe ourselves. Self-belief is the most challenging thing you will have. Because again, the person that you're becoming is always in front of you. It's always out there. And you're going to decide whether or not you're going to get there. But then throughout civilization, we develop new things. Sometimes we become afraid of even owning that. So we're not really fearing our failure. We're fearing our success because we have all the potential and abilities. But then we need to know how to do it. How do we go about that? Well, I've written it all down, and I've proven it as well, because it's healed me. And I will be, on November 2nd, I'll be 75. And I just want to tell you, because this is why I can say to people, you don't have difficulties, you don't have problems. It's just ways you haven't figured out yet, because I do know that, because I've been given them all. Now, it took me a long time to accept this, because how did this happen? Because the other thing that started to show up with the Wilhelm messages is that they were all aligned with energetic changes. And I've never seen anyone who had done that before, so it was hard for me to accept it. But I'm accepting it now because I can see it. The patterns are very, very clear. And then we have new technology that has verified everything that I've been receiving from Wilhelm. And then we see it showing up in our world. There's nothing occurring in the world now, any world events, none of that we didn't have that information. But when you go to my site, Any Advice for Today, what I want you to do is just go through all the messages for the last several days, and you'll see everything that's been written down, everything that I've gone through, every question that you might have in your life. I've answered it. Not me, but I got it from Wilhelm. That's exactly what happened. And so this is why I can talk to people now and say, I know that you're meant to have a great life. I know that you're supposed to have all the riches that are there. All you have to do is accept yourself and keep going on that discovery. And that's what I'm doing. This is why I'm changing things in my work and my program. You'll see, because I have your answer. Wilhelm has given us your answer. There is nothing that you could go through. And if you just go through the last several days of the messages, you will see. And then what I did to show you, I put questions in there, reflection questions, as I call them. And so you will find that you won't be able to answer them all. And you'll probably go back and you'll be able to answer some later. That's how we evolve again. That's how we ascend to a higher state of understanding of who we are. And that's what I'm doing now. So now, after hiding all of this for so long, I have to fully commit. And I'm doing this because I know it can change anyone's life. And the more of us who do it, it changes our world. That's all. And so, but telling people and owning that was the most challenging, which it will be for you as well. Because that's, we kind of run from ourselves, or we hide from it. That's what goes on. And right now, because of the changes of the energies, you have something that's in front of you that's saying, please do it now. That's what's going on. And that's why you're feeling uncomfortable, why you're anxious, or why you can't sleep, or all of those things. But it's the changes of the energies of our planets, and you're being affected. And so that means we're meant to take the next step, and that's what I'm doing. But I want to show you this really quickly, because you can go to the site and you'll find it all. And it's this. We no longer have to struggle or suffer. And then you'll go through each message that it's laid out, and you'll see what I received at a certain time, but how it was broken down. And they just gave you the synthesis of this. And at the back of it, you'll see messages that were put there that you will understand so much more about who you are. And that's the entire point of your life, is to understand who you are and what you're here to do. And now you no longer need to struggle or suffer, because Wilhelm has given us a way to you to live your best life. And that I do know. Now, I also know everyone's not going to do it. It took me a long time. How am I going to accept myself? Why would I do that? And that's what you have to ask yourself. And when are you going to do it? Because now there's no reason that you can't. I have the plan. I was given the plan for you to live this great life, and it's for everyone. That's why I can say this now, because I know that it's true. There's no question any person could bring to me that hasn't been answered, or I wouldn't find the answer through Wilhelm. That's what's happened. I didn't know I had done that, just like you don't know what you have either. It's always evolving, and that's what we're meant to do. So please check it all out. I'll leave the links here, and this could be the time that you're ready to become your successful self, because it's within you. That I do know. See you soon.